Hey, 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 happy Self Care Sunday. It's another soul care conversation with another powerful woman, and I have another amazing guest. And the conversation is all about women empowerment, self care, self love, self nourishment. And today we have the amazing Sabrina on the line.
Hey, hey, hey. How
Hey, hey, hey,
are you?
Queen.
Yes, thank you for that.
Absolutely. Sabrina is a woman that wears many hats, in my opinion. I think she is so incredible for so many reasons, one of which is her aura. If you're one of those people or one of those listeners that's listening and you're all about vibes, her vibe, when I instantly saw her perform at an event, I was just enamored by her stage presence, by her poetry, and by her aura. She's one of those people that she gives off these very positive vibes, these very beautiful vibes. But before I go into this tangent, tell us a little bit about yourself, Sabrina, some of your organizations, the things you're involved in, and all that good stuff.
Yes. Thank you again for having me on your platform. I definitely appreciate it. So my name is Sabrina Parker. I go by Phonetic Wisdom. A lot of people know me as Phonetic Wisdom, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
pretty much that persona or extension of myself came out of my poetry and just like a desire to really find myself in this world through passion and performance and like really digging into my own psyche and finding ways to be vulnerable, in safe spaces. And so,
Right.
through the birth of like Phonetic Wisdom and myself as a poet and a spoken word artist, I was able to really discover my purpose and my passion, to really be like an advocate for like the people, but like especially for Black women
Right.
through like my poetry. I was able to like realize through other people's insight of like my words, and then like through self-reflection that I was a woman who was very much hurting, and in a lot of pain, and recognizing that so were the women around. And that led me to the creation of Voices of Black Power, which I started for Black women's empowerment, specifically for Black women who have been impacted by sexual abuse and trauma, because
Wow.
that is also a part of my narrative. And
Right.
through that, I also realized like it's really deeper trauma. I realized that trauma extends from like mental, emotional trauma,
Right.
psychological, uh, and so it's called. I felt called to really expand myself, to cater to Black women who are just, in essence, suffering from what we call ancestral trauma or generational curses, and
Hmm.
creating a safe healing space through the arts, because that is where I found my safety and my peace, and realizing like it's so much easier to speak about artistic manner. So really the intention of Voices of Black Power is to transmute trauma into triumph, uh, through
Yes.
spoken
Speak
word.
on that.
Yes,
Yes.
like through poetry and spoken word, through like painting, or maybe somebody is a dancer or they play an instrument, like whatever the artistic modality is. I want to be able to create a space where we can utilize all those modalities to create
Yes.
something that is healing and inspiring, and really uplifts the spirit. So um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So many things I can ask you about on this topic of healing, and I absolutely love your brand, Phonetic Wisdom, Voice of Power, Her. You wear many hats. Definitely, like your name says, you are filled with a lot of wisdom, and you have a lot. Using your voice is so important. And when every woman heals herself, she also, and she's able to take that help and help other people heal themselves, that is powerful. And I think that is so important that every woman that's on a healing journey joins a community. And like you said, I love the fact that your organization, it caters to all different types of creative outlets. Like you said, different artistic modalities. Some people may be singers, people may be writers, some people may be poets, some people may be a dancer. I absolutely love that your organization, your content is always relatable. Being vulnerable and using yourself as a muse for other people to learn and grow from is really, really hard, and really, really powerful. So I have a few questions in the terms of healing and things of that nature. What do you think is two important things that a person should keep in mind along their healing journey? Like two important concepts or two important things that you think a person should keep in mind along their healing journey. Whatever it is they're healing from, if they're healing from that ancestral trauma, which I feel all of us have some level of passed down ancestral trauma just by virtue of the slave trade that happened over 400 years ago. Every Black indigenous person in America has some type of passed down ancestral trauma that they have to heal within themselves in order for the next generation to be free. And so what are two things that you think a person should keep in mind along their healing journey?
One thing that's very, very important, that I'm like constantly being faced with is like there's always going to be some sort of darkness. And I think that a lot of times we see healers or healing and it's all light, 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 light. But that's not the reality. The reality is
Right.
that there is dark and there is light. And
Yes.
really, understanding that when you are going through this process, it is going to bring up you have to go through the darkness, and the darkness is really that of yourself, within yourself. What are your fears? What are your anxieties? What are your, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you still. I'm just listening. Your voice is very melodic, so I'm just listening. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Okay, it said it was trying to reconnect, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, we good.
Okay, yeah, so just recognizing that the darkness that we're experiencing in life is really coming from within ourselves, and life is doing what it needs to do to show us that we have to face ourselves. The darkness we face in life is ultimately ourselves. And so when we, choose to avoid or sweep under the rug or try to sidestep the discomfort or the ugliness of life, we're really sweeping ourselves under the rug. We're really sidestepping ourselves, trying to bypass these shadows that are a part of us, that are calling us to really heal and be healed, so that we can see the light, so that it can become light, so that we can become light. So I first and foremost will say that the healing journey is not this glamorous thing, like you're gonna go through it,
Right.
but you're gonna grow through it. So it's okay.
Yes. And what's another thing you think a person should keep in mind? Definitely that shadow work, that shadow self, that it doesn't define you, but it's a part of you. And to not acknowledge all parts of you is to not allow yourself to have a deeper sense of self-love. It's not from an ego standpoint. Like I think I heard Deepak Chopra say that you should not judge yourself, but you should observe yourself, and that the being able to get to your higher self, you must have to have this unapologetic honesty with yourself. you know.
Yeah.
And the problem with a lot of us, and a problem with a lot of us on the healing journey, we think that, ignoring our shadow self is what works best. But that's not the case. You repress those parts of yourself, you repress those things, it will manifest itself in other ways. At least that's what I think. So be able to hit to be improved, hit that part of yourself, acknowledge those parts of yourself is a big part of self-love, and everyone has different elements, everyone has different backstories to what creates their shadow self, and everyone will have a different journey of embracing the totality of who they are. Many times we see people who pretend on the outside to accept all of themselves, but we live in a society, a microwave, social media driven, superficial society. If we're not careful, if we're letting society define us instead of us defining ourselves without society's permission, we get caught up in the ego traps. We get caught up in those things that stop us from growing spiritually. So most definitely, that's a very great point, acknowledging both parts of yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And so my next question is, what would you say will be 3 things or 3 words to describe your brand?
3 words. So I would definitely say vulnerable. It came from space. The inspiration from it and the realization of it came from a very vulnerable space. I say intentional because that is not something that I could do without it having a deep-rooted purpose.
Right.
And, I have seen the effects of the spaces that I've created and curated and how it has impacted the lives of Black women and even just like people in general, which is always the goal. But I make it my mission to cater to Black women because society has not made it their mission to cater to us.
Absolutely. And I am the same way. And what would you say to people who ask you, well, why do you just, I'm all about all women. I know you're all about all women, but focusing mainly on us, Black women. Why is it that every time we want to do something that focuses on us, that it becomes this super political thing, So what would you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Because they love us. They're obsessed with us.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, anytime that you, even like just in life, you realize that when the attention is on something else or it's outside of you, once you start to pull it back into yourself, the people, places, or things that you were giving attention to now feel of your. So because we have been focused on what is outside of us for so long, on these, other institutions, these other people, whatever it is, whenever you start to call the energy back into yourself, then people draws. They get angry, they get frustrated, and it's not really it's really kind of like, it is intentional to some extent, but at the same time, it's also a reaction, and it people can't really help themselves because on a world, like in a world perspective, the world has been dependent on us to be slaves, and to be subservient, and to not know our power.
Right.
And so the awakening of us as Black women, as goddesses, as queens, remembering who we are and reclaiming our power, is going to throw off the power dynamic and structure in such a way that the opposition has to fight for it. They have to fight for themselves. They have to fight for their energy supply, because we are their energy supply. And so
Right.
with this, essentially they would die, whether it's physically or spiritually. Really say it's spiritually, but what happening on the spiritual is also happening on the physical.
Right. Absolutely. And what you just said a mouthful right now. I absolutely love when I meet women that are on the same wavelength as me, as women empowerment, Black women empowerment, Black women building a genuine alliance with each other, because everything that's happening now, in my humble opinion, many of us, we are the trailblazers of it, and we never get enough credit. And now we're stepping into the place where we're no longer subservient to European standards of beauty. We're no longer subservient to European standards of living. We're no longer subservient to culture telling us who we are as women, and redefining what we feel as a woman, what we need to be. Decolonizing how we see ourselves creates this whole wave of power that we start to just kind of acknowledge and see, and fall in love with, and many times it's hard. It's not as getting as hard anymore, because the more of us that rise up, the more we create a community of women that embrace the idea of every woman can win, every woman can build, every woman can be successful. And especially us as Black women, because of the patriarchy, the sexism, the racism, even now to this day, we are still breaking glass ceilings. Even now in 2021, we're still breaking racial glass ceilings. And, we have to be there for each other, because no one can be there for each other the way we can, and that's something that I absolutely love and admire about your brand, is the way, whenever I'm tapping into your content, that I'm going to feel spiritually fed. I'm going to feel like I am talking and communicating and viewing content where I feel like I can connect with this person, and using your vulnerability as such a superpower. And that's something that, generationally, we have been taught not to be vulnerable. We have been taught not to be, that there's no strength in that vulnerability. There's no strength in the essence of our true femininity. And many of us, we create this hard shell. I'm all for women feeling like they are a boss, but I'm so over the bad bitch culture. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we could all feel like a baddie. That's important, but I'm so over the bad bitch culture, excuse my language. I'm over the culture where many of us feel like we have to fit into this mold, or we have to have up this hard exterior in order to be powerful, in order to be strong. But there is strength in acknowledging, okay, I don't always feel okay. Is there strength in acknowledging, sometimes I am a little lost, and that's the power of sisterhood. When women can come together and see, you're not my competition, I'm not your competition. We are alliances in this thing called life. And when I'm vulnerable and when I'm feeling down, I can feel safe with you, instead of feeling like you're going to take my vulnerabilities and hold them against me, or go tell it to the next person. That's why sisterhood is so important to me, and talking and having conversations with women like you is so important to me. Not to keep us here any longer, the time has just been moving by so quick. What are some of your self-care musts?
I must take spiritual baths. That is definitely a must for me.
Nice.
Just the cleanse has to be like a regular once or twice a week. I have to do that. I have to journal and like physically really thoughts is often in my head. And then it also helps. Like I realized I was writing a lot, and I wouldn't go back and read what I wrote. And I learned a lot about myself when I like look at what I wrote, just how I felt and how things changed. And so really studying myself is a part of it.
Right. Self-study. Studying yourself from head to toe.
Yeah, you really have to know yourself. I need alone time. I used to, I would always be in the company of others and like avoiding myself. And I realized like the type of being that I am, like I have to be alone. I have to spend time with which allows
I can definitely relate to that. Sorry to cut you off.
No. So I have to reach. I have to charge. I have to do breath work, techniques, and that really helps me to be in more of a calm state of mind, or like to just remind me like on a regular, like when I'm interacting, like you should focus on breathing, because when you stop breathing, that's when the tension comes, that's when the anxiety comes. So just always remember to breathe. And I need spa days. Like spa days. I need to get my nails done, my feet done, I need a bathtub, like just tending to my physical body, because I realize like a lot of times people, the older they get, the more they start to neglect your body as a temple. Like that's really the only thing that's gonna keep you like planning this diverse or what have you. So if you're not taking care of it, it's not gonna take care of it. So,
right.
That. So I realize the older I get, like, okay, I need that.
Right. Absolutely. These are some great self-care tips.
Thank you. And I'm like, these days I'm just honoring that. Like, that's what I need.
Got it. So this has been such a beautiful conversation about self-care, self-love. You guys can check out the amazing Phonetic Wisdom at Phonetic Wisdom on her IG. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's PHONETICWISDOM. And you could also follow my Black Women's Empowerment page at Voices of Black. That's VOICESOFBLACKPOWHER. And that is also my website, so definitely go check that out. Yes. My poetry book is out. Shameless plug. Poetry book is out.
Oh, poetry book. Oh my goodness. How did I miss that one? OMG. That is so inspiring, because I'm working on a children's poetry book. And now you have one out. Yes, I have I already wrote it. I got to send you the manuscript and see what you think about it. I have an illustrator that I'm working with right now, and the goal is to have it out by the end of this year, God willing. But tell us about your poetry book, where we can buy it, where we can purchase it. How can we get our hands on it? Because, Phonetic Wisdom got some ill verses. She should be a rapper.
No, I rap a little bit. I don't sound too much though.
Okay.
You could definitely get my poetry book on my website, voicesofblackpower.com. If you so happen to see me in these streets, I might just have a book up on me.
Yes.
But my website is definitely the best place to go and get it. I did self-publish, so in the process of figuring out how I could work with another like publishing organization to help me expand my reach. Nice. But it took me longer to really get it, so I'm really proud that I allowed myself to be vulnerable and share these pieces of myself, because I know that my healing is somebody else's healing as well.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Again, this conversation is always about self-love, self-care, women empowerment. Again, check out Phonetic Wisdom. Of course, I'm going to attach the info in the description. You guys have a great self-care Sunday. My girl Sabrina, thank you for coming on. You are the bomb.com. Happy self-care Sunday.
Yes, happy self-care Sunday. Thank you for having me, beautiful.
Thank you for being on, gorgeous.
Much love.
Peace.